You don't need more healing. You need more momentum. Okay? One of the things I've noticed in the healing space, or just in life, a lot of times people are doing busy work to distract them from the actual work, right? Let's call it procrastination, okay? Because when it comes to this healing stuff, especially, you'll hear people say, well, I've been reading these books, I've been listening to these podcasts, I've been watching this content online, right? Consuming a lot of things, but not really digesting it, not letting it move through their body and their practices and their actions. Okay? But they think because I am listening to all these things by design, I am doing something. But in actuality, you're just keeping yourself busy, not productive. And it will show. It's so funny because there is a difference between being enlightened and also elusive, right? Eluding the actual work, but wanting to posture as somebody who's doing it. Right? A person that's healing doesn't need to tell everybody that they're doing it. You just know how you experience them. It's like, oh, this person's been working through some stuff. Because I can tell not just by how they talk, but also how they treat me, how they treat themselves, how they move through the space. That's when it usually shows up, right? There have been a couple of people I met who are always in school, always getting another degree, right? And it's like, well, what are you doing with those degrees? Well, I don't have time. I got to get another degree. Okay, so what are you going to do with that? I got to go get another degree. Right? And it's like, well, what are you doing? And sometimes those people are chronic students because they are avoiding the real world. The real world is so scary. So I'd rather immerse myself in this one. You get me? I think when it comes to just growing as a human, life experience is very important, right? Even myself, as I show up in this space as a coach, when I was studying to get my degrees in psych and as well as communications, and I had my own therapist over the years, I realized that there is a difference between textbook knowledge and life knowledge. For me, I wanted to bridge the gap. Not only did I want to learn my own experiences, but I wanted to make sure that when I stepped into life, right, and I was helping other people, I could understand them, not just from a textbook space, but also just from a worldly view, right? My own life experiences. I felt that that was really important. And I know it's important because when I've sat across people, it was very easy for me to recognize whether or not they've had their own experiences to pull from, or were they just regurgitating what I was saying. Okay. And it's no shame to them or anything like that, but it is noticeable. Okay. If you feel like you are doing all this work and you're still unfulfilled, it's probably avoiding something that's important. There's some people that say, well, yeah, I'm doing all this work and I realize I ended up alone. I don't think that is supposed to happen, okay? Your relationships will be more condensed if you're doing it right, but I don't think it leads to complete isolation. You will spend more time alone, yeah, because you are not as aligned. Let's use that word. You're not as aligned with a lot of things, or you're just sensitive to a lot more. Okay, you're aware of a lot more, so it might be difficult to exist in certain spaces. But complete isolation, I don't think is the goal, right? Your goal is to not be better than everybody else. Your goal is to just be better for yourself. And as time comes and goes, yeah, maybe you will understand that, yeah, I am better than this situation. I'm better than how this person treats me. Okay. But that doesn't mean I am not unable to find better spaces. See, a lot of times we can use healing as a ways to be emotionally lazy, interestingly enough, right? We use these things to keep us from doing the uncomfortable work of stepping into spaces that challenge us. Because it's very easy to be the most healed person in the room. But it's a little bit more complicated to step into a space with somebody who has been doing the actual work, and they do it in practice, they do it in real time. Right? It's not just sitting at the desk and doing the simulations like, oh no, we do this for real. How does that look? How does that feel? Ask yourself, what am I avoiding? Okay, what am I avoiding? What am I afraid of? Because we'll say we're learning this knowledge while we're still holding on to very unhealthy relationships or things or our own habits and patterns, because the consequences that comes with letting these things go. I can't do things like I used to. Now I'm more aware of my own patterns. Now there's accountability and ownership. I can't just dodge that now, right? But if we say that we're listening to all these things and consuming all this stuff, it will appear that we are working on ourselves. But sometimes we're just doing busy work. Okay? So I challenge you to think about, what have you been avoiding in terms of your practice and just having an enriching life? What's your truth? And even if you're not being honest with yourself, it will show up in the world. Okay? Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other.